Okay, we're live now.
All right. Good morning, good afternoon, evening, everyone, and welcome to the 33rd Platform and Treasury Council recurring meeting. We're going to go over, have a recap of the last meeting, network updates, the big event that was held last week, MWC. Following on from that, we've got the Unified Web Presence. This is an ongoing project that's being worked on in the background. An introduction to a new council member, Manu, and Telcoin network updates, and then any questions and answers. And then following that, the next meetings, 26th of March, April 9, April 23rd. So, what we're working on, what we're building, and why we do these. These bi-weekly meetings provide the transparency to the council operations and offer proposals to inform, to present directly to council members and community, and maintain consistent communication across our global ecosystem. We're building the internet of money. 7 billion people connected by mobile phones, yet unable to truly own and move money the way they want to move data. And Telecom Association is changing that, establishing a Telcoin network and Tel as a blockchain and token standard for global communications. The platform architecture is broken up into 3 different areas: the Telcoin network, Telex, and the TAN. We've got 4 minor groups: validators, they're all the GSMA mobile network operators securing and earning transactions fees from the blockchain; liquidity miners, providing liquidity; developers, building applications on the network; and stakers, driving adoption and connecting payment networks. And TAL acts as the native token on the network, gas token, staking asset, and governance mechanism. Democratic governance, a dual mandate. And this matters because every decision shapes whether we achieve the vision of getting and uniting the GSMA mobile operators and billions of users around a shared blockchain infrastructure where money moves like data, accessible to every mobile phone globally. And our commitments: as elected representatives, we commit to thoughtful proposal review, consistent communication, transparent platform updates, and faithful execution of the governance framework you've entrusted us to. All right. So we'll move on to the first part of the meeting, and that's a recap from last week. So actually 3 weeks ago now, but our last meeting, Grant reported a strong development cycle, closing 12 pull requests and covering production hardening, bug fixes, and security improvements. 2 major features, database layer upgrades and peer-to-peer streaming, were nearly complete and in final testing. It was also reported by Grant that the team was approaching testnet readiness and actual MNO data center environments, or in actual data center environments. Once the final database changes were cleared for review, they'd be ready to launch with the initial core MNO participants and begin stress testing ahead of mainnet. It's also confirmed that bridging was moving forward. The team receiving an initial scoping document from Layer 0, which is the final prerequisite before the bridging deployment between Telcoin network and other EVM chains could begin. Grant also mentioned that security audits were being coordinated with top EVM researchers who were in Denver, and the BLS library audit was expected to kick off soon once the schedules were confirmed. It was also highlighted and appreciated by the community and Grant, community member Tan Guy, who's working to help streamline some of the execution environment and allow the core team to move more ground or cover more ground quicker than they anticipated. Blue lights. He also gave us a clarified update on the roadmap. In the Platform Treasury Council meeting, GitHub remains the live source for real-time development progress, and a bug causing the date to update daily on the site was fixed as well by Derek. And then we had the team was moving and going across to Spain, Barcelona, the Mobile World Congress, and they had meeting lined up, and we've seen a bit of that come through, and we'll talk about that later with Parker. Right, so we'll move on to updates from the Telcoin network, and Nick or Blue Lights, if you'd like to discuss your unified web presence update. That's our website.
I'm gonna take over for Nick. He asked if I could cover for him really quick. Can you guys hear me?
Go for it. Thanks, Derek.
Okay, perfect. Yeah, no problem. So we're in, I think, let's see now, week 2.5, week 3 of the unified web presence, working with the company. We've been working with, and primarily the focus has been working out wireframes for the new website, user flow, user journey, everything from retail user to somebody that's an MNO, to somebody that's a node validator, to somebody that's a developer looking for information on the network. So it's been a very long process, very in depth. We've done lots of interviews with the company. The company's done some interviews with key stakeholders, i.e., people in the community that would be using the website, or those of us in the council. And then we've been really focused less on the design and UI aspect, but more of the user journey and SEO aspect right now. So the focus is to make sure that the whole entire web presence makes sense, and for all the different users that will be using it. And that's really been the first primary focus here. For if you want to go to refer to kind of what's been worked on, the proposal, the original proposal is up on the forum still, but it's been good. They're a very thorough company. They're the quality of what they're putting out is we're really happy with. So we're just really trying to, as we all know, that Telcoin's a very complex and has multifaceted layers, not just the network, but also the project and Telex and all these other different entities. And it's just really important that we get this right, so that it makes somebody joining and looking at the website for the first time, we have better click-through rate, we have better, all the information is there. Users shouldn't need to feel that they have to go ask a question after going to the website, whether it's a developer, a community member, or an MNO. And that's kind of the purpose. So the first step in that is really ensuring that the web presence and that the wireframing now makes sense. And then you build the UI around that to make sure it all makes sense. So it's been a really good process. There's about 5 of us involved. Yeah, and we're only just scratched the surface. So it'll be a long process, but it'll be worth it when it's done.
Thanks, Eric. Yeah, it's an important piece of the puzzle because, as Derek mentioned, there's many parts of the Telcoin ecosystem, and getting a nice clean way to display it to the public is extremely important to help convey the message and get people invited and involved in a nice, easy way, and it's a good source of information as well. So no doubt we'll see that keep progressing, and we'll get updates as we go. And
yeah, is there any questions about it I can answer for anybody that's either here on the call or on the stream? Please let me know.
Yeah, and we are at the stage of, as you say, it's not going to full-blown website yet. It's just a wireframe and stuff at the moment, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, yeah, we'll end up having a an actual clickable demo website when it's all said and done after the first 4 weeks.
Okay.
It's not a full blown website, but yeah, it's the wire. This is the whole phrase. The whole phase right now is competition. Comps. We're measuring the comp set, so we're looking at other competitor websites. We're looking at the company's looking essentially at what's the current website's strengths and weaknesses, and what needs to be changed with the user journey and the wireframe in order for it to make sense. So that's really what this is right now.
Brilliant. Okay. Oh, let's move on. Thank you. Next on the updates, we've got Parker coming in from with a team from MWC 26 in Barcelona. Parker, if you're there, you would like to give us an update on how last week went.
Thank you, Aiden.
More
Thank you,
details.
everyone. Can you hear me?
Yep, go for it.
Awesome. Thank you, everyone. I want to spend a few minutes updating the council and community on what just happened at MWC Barcelona, the largest mobile industry conference in the world. It's hosted by the GSMA Consortium. And I'll say up front, this was the best conference in Telcoin history. Let me set the scene. MWC is where every major telecom operator, infrastructure provider, and technology company on the planet gathers. We're talking about the companies that connect billions of people to the internet. Last week, the Telcoin Association was the only blockchain network and token at the entire conference. Telcoin Holdings was the only blockchain company, not the biggest blockchain presence, the only one. No other blockchain sponsors, no other crypto startups, nothing. And that's a dramatic shift because every year before this, the conference was filled with blockchain companies, many of them with enormous marketing budgets, sponsoring booths, pitching their technology to telecoms. And they were all networks that had no real reason to be there, no genuine product market fit with the telecom industry. They just had money to spend. This year, they're gone. Many of them pivoted to AI, and we're still here. That's not an accident. That's the result of years of positioning, years of building relationships, and years of being the only blockchain that actually makes sense for this industry. Telcoin Network is the blockchain network and token standard for telecommunications, and that's not by marketing budget, by design. And the telecoms now know it. So, what did we actually do there? We had formal meetings, lunches, coffees, and introductions with mobile operators from every continent in the world. These were real conversations with senior executives from some of the largest operators on the planet. And those conversations centered on two things. First, how operators can adopt our blockchain tech as underlying infrastructure for digital payments and across their value chains to improve efficiency and utility by 100x, 1000x, in my opinion. And second, how they can become validators and secure Telcoin Network as a new network service, just like voice, data, and SMS. And I want to share something that's really stood out to me from these conversations because it speaks to a shift in mindset that's been years in the making. Mobile operators are always the smartest people in the room when it comes to network technology. They've been doing this for decades, longer than I've been alive. So in previous years, when all these blockchain companies would show up at MWC and pitch their network tech using fancy lingo that frankly our industry has created out of thin air, the operator's reaction was basically to nod politely, pretend they understood it, and then discard the entire project. And so what's changed now is that they've stopped pretending. They're openly acknowledging that they don't fully understand every nuance of blockchain tech yet, but recognize its value. And more importantly, they want to learn. They want to tokenize their local currencies into stablecoins. They want to deploy their applications on chain, and they want to participate as validators on Telcoin Network. That shift from this sort of polite dismissal to genuine engagement is one of the most significant things I've observed in my entire time working in this industry. I also want to know that some of our meetings are already generating public momentum. Viatel Digital, one of the largest telecoms in Southeast Asia and really all over the world. I think they cover about 12 countries, posted publicly on LinkedIn about their meeting with us at MWC, describing their discussions around cross-border payments and digital assets on blockchain infrastructure. When a major operator, and I'm talking over 200 million subscribers, is publicly signaling interest and engagement with Telcoin, that's meaningful validation. And that's the kind of organic endorsement that no marketing budget can buy. Additionally, I wanted to share that we've been working for months now with a strategic telecom and GSA advisor for the association. We met in person at the conference last week, and we're in this final stages of formalizing that engagement. It's someone that we're with deep industry relationships and credibility, who, if brought on, would really be instrumental in accelerating our onboarding process for validators and building out this sort of telecom focused blockchain ecosystem and just overall engagement and credibility globally. There's, nothing is final. We are still working through the process, and it's all confidential at this point, but there's more details to come soon. I just wanted to make clear that we're moving forward on a variety of areas. So to sum it up, best conference in our history, the only blockchain at the table, real meetings with real operators on every continent, and a telecom industry that has moved from curiosity to commitment. The vision we laid out years ago, that mobile operators would collectively own and operate blockchain infrastructure as a network service, is no longer a pitch. It's a conversation that's happening right now in boardrooms all around the world with Telcoin at the center of it. Voice, SMS, data, blocks. It's happening. Thank you.
Thanks, Parker. That's awesome, and it's good to see Telcoin being the only guys in the room there, especially when we've been there for many years back to back, and as normal in most markets, it filters itself out. So it's great to see Telcoin there and getting commitments. It's awesome. And as I say, it's a big event. I think there's over 100,000 people that attended. So it's pretty decent. It's very good. All right. On the network front, Grant, if you're available, I know you're also at the MWC last week, and so I'm not sure what's happened, but let's have a catch up if you're available there.
Awesome. Thanks, Hayden. Yes, I was at Mobile World Congress in Barcelona last week with the council members, Parker and Ryan. But and like Parker mentioned, MWC is the largest annual telecom industry gathering in the world. So I did have some updates, just keep them brief since Parker covered it so thoroughly. But, before the conference even started, we had strategic meetings in place. Most of them were discrete, executive level conversations with CEOs, CTOs, and chiefs of strategy across the industry and within the GSMA. And those meetings are really focused on substantive dialogue that didn't really make it to social media, but it carried real world weight in terms of relationship building and respect for the project's integrity. So I came away with a pipeline of follow-up items, and most importantly, direct insight from MNOs on how they intend to use Telcoin Network once it's live. So, hearing that and having those conversations was really motivating for the entire team. And it's really critical insight as, we kind of narrow our scope on just critical aspects to get to mainnet launch. So while I was at MWC, the protocol team continued to thoroughly test our new database implementation. We just finished that PR up this afternoon. It is a lot of code and it is a very fundamental change, but it is absolutely a critical optimization for production level performance. So really this has cleared the way for launching testnet with our partners and data centers across the world. The protocol team is going to take a few days just to carefully review network parameters, Genesis configuration, and update some dependencies, but that's largely administrative and organizational tasks. And after that, we'll be moving on to launching a testnet here. So really, really excited on this to be at this milestone. I know it's been a long time coming. I do want to say that we will probably reset the testnet at least once before mainnet is launched, just because we have outstanding security assessments. But by far, this will be the most stable release of Telcoin Network to date. So the progress is real, it's continuous, and is laying the foundation for the Internet of Money. So we're building it with care, and we'll have more updates to follow soon as we advance the next milestones. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you, Grant. It's good to hear. And as it was mentioned there, building the Internet of Money and discussions with how they want to use the Telcoin network, because there's remittance is part of it, but you can build so many different things as needed or as wanted, basically whatever you want on there. So that's the exciting part. And as the network digs deeper into that side of things, it opens up a lot of doors as well. Right. Now, if we move on to our fourth point this morning or this evening, we've got the Compliance Council introduction. Is Manu available? So Manu is applied as a validator on the Compliance Council seat. Do we have him?
Yes, he's available, although on a fake name today because I logged in on the app and my name is pretty random today. So I'm Manu. I'm from Finland, and yeah, running for the open seat on the Compliance Council. So basically, I'm a Master of Laws. Well, almost graduated, so I'm working on my master's thesis right now. I have a background also in business studies, and I think I have a newfound interest, so might actually complete my MBA on the side after I get my law degree. But the law is what I want to do, and I wrote my bachelor thesis on compliance. I'm writing my master thesis on blockchain governance. So in the field, and I have to say, I got interested in actually putting some skin in the game when a certain council member kind of called out the community, pointed out that there were seats that were left open in different positions. In late 25, I think. So I checked it out and I thought, okay, I might not be technical enough yet, at least for a lot of them, but Compliance Council, that sounded like something I could actually, kind of like put myself in there and do something positive for the project. So yeah, Derek can attest I was maybe a bit shy in the beginning with it, but yeah, I'm warming up to it.
I mean, yeah, no, not shy. We talked a lot. Yeah, I basically made the comment of we've got lots of open seats and people can either choose to sit on the bench or get in the game. And so you really, spent some time asking a lot of really thoughtful questions. Was very thorough before deciding to put in his application. So we still really appreciate it. It's great. We still have open seats. So it's a great example of somebody willing to kind of help be part of the governance process. So thank you. Appreciate it.
That's right. Yep, and it takes all sorts to get things moving as well. So it's quite good. It's very good and appropriate as well. Compliance Council and a law background, it's not going to do any harm, I don't think. So awesome. Thank you for coming through there, Manu.
Thank you.
Quick question for Manu, if that is welcomed today.
Yeah.
So nice to meet you, first off. And second off, really awesome background for this exact position in council. So very interesting point that you mentioned that I wanted to see if you'd share a little bit more color on. Don't want to put you on the spot or anything like that, but wanted to see what your dissertation on blockchain was.
So I'm currently writing it. It's about blockchain governance and the Swiss Verein model. My handler actually has a similar kind of paper. She's been on a couple of blockchain related papers before that. So yeah,
from MME or wherever that is. Which group is she from? That's unreal. Yeah, having developed a governance system within the Verein structure, I'd love to talk shop sometime. That's awesome, man. Very cool.
Very appropriate. Yeah, very good. All right. Do we have any questions? I think we got one in the chat.
Yeah, there are a few. If we're ready for Q&A, let me know when.
Yeah, yes, we are ready for Q&A there. Yep.
Cool. Okay.
So,
1 second here. Let me pull it up.
Makes sense to leverage.
Okay. This one would probably be, there's one right here directed for Parker. Parker, any actual deals being made or moving forward based on conversation you've had? If not, what do they need to move forward to become a validator or a partner? This is during a GSMA conversation.
Sure. Dozens of deals at varying levels so far. Each one is very specific. You think about each sort of country having their own telecom in a way. They each have their own set of problems, their own currencies, their own infrastructure that they're utilizing today, their own level of mobile financial services that they've done. And in some cases, they are multinational, really large companies. So there's just a tremendous diversity of potential MNOs. But yeah, everything is progressing exactly as planned, and these are generally pretty long life cycle deals. But there certainly, has been this pipeline that's been going for years and is progressing now quite rapidly as we approach mainnet.
Excellent. Another one. Would it make sense to leverage the well-known GSMA brand and rebrand the Telcoin network as the GSMA Telcoin network to reinforce its positioning as a GSMA standard settlement layer blockchain?
Well, quite the question. I wasn't
Yeah,
prepared for this one. What do you think?
I can speak to that some. So would it make sense? Absolutely, and that's one of the reasons that we have been so welcoming and reaching out to GSMA to try to figure this out. So GSMA, for anybody who may not be as familiar as, is the Association for GSM Technology, which is the technology that mobile network operators. I have a very similar vision on that sense, where that's exactly what we are trying to build and establish, and why those conversations at MWC were so important in kind of establishing that, meeting the right people and the leadership within the GSMA that can really help us set that up and bring this vision to life.
And on the point of the GSMA naming conventions, and I think it's important to note that it's a separate. We want to get the GSMA membership to come and adopt the chain and become members of our association, in addition to being a GSMA member, which is a prerequisite for being a validator and a developer and the like. And so, I think it is interesting, but I think Telcoin network's better, would be my opinion.
I don't think that we want to include GSMA branding in the blockchain either. So I missed that part of the second part of the question, but yeah.
Yeah, I think that was kind of the main question. Yeah. Yep.
Sorry. It'll be known by the GSMA, but separate by the looks of it. Yeah.
Yeah. No, Grant, I think you answered, but you brought up a really good point though. Also, is that, but another thing to remember is that this is a network. Yeah, it's validated by MNOs, but this is a blockchain that it's a EVM compatible open blockchain, right? So any developer can develop on it. It's not pigeonholing ourselves just to be MNOs. Doesn't have to be that. It can be, yes, that's the use case and the target, right, for validators, but there's going to be many use cases, as we've seen, Power Hive, the game company, right? There's many different use cases. So
okay.
let's see. There's one more question. Yeah, if you're okay with that, Hayden.
Yeah, go for it. Yeah.
Let's see. In general, what is the council's overall feeling about the project and the current pace of how things are going? I mean, you guys see more than us, so are you stoked, or how are you feeling at this time?
Eric, you should answer that.
I should answer that? Okay. I mean, I don't think I say this a few times, but I feel like there's stuff that keeps coming out more and more that makes me more and more confident. So the minute that my brain gets bored with something that I'm working on with the project, then something else comes out or a different angle comes out. I'll just shooting from the hip. Grant's update before Barcelona, when they were working on PRs about how different lanes for different types of transactions on the network. I never thought about something like that before. That's a crazy and unique thought. Having different throughput and different lanes on the blockchain for different types of networks or different types of transactions coming through. On top of that, then you see, I think Boo found it. You see another project literally using the base and the core of what Grant and the team have built as the basis for their own blockchain moving forward because of how unique it is. And I forget what the name of that company was. Boo, you might be able to remind me if you're on.
It was like Rails.
Yeah. So Yeah, to be excited is probably an understatement. And contrary to popular belief, we as council members probably only still see, I don't know, Parker, 15% of what's going on in our positions compared to like everything. So I mean, like there's so much untapped potential, and there's a reason why there's, everybody wants to say, oh, why does it take so long? Why does it take so long? Well, it takes so long because doing this right the first time, the right way, so that you don't get hacked and you don't lose your credibility and you don't lose your security, you don't lose partners is paramount. You do it. You have to thread that needle. That's why I'm really excited. If anybody else wants to go.
Yeah, just as you mentioned it before, Derek, with the fees and the worker fees, there's a lot of depth in that thought and the actual bigger picture at play there. It's quite amazing, how it can all be thought of, and it does take time, but you've got to get it right as well. If anyone's in the normal banking world and the cost to send money, if you're prioritizing that on a Telcoin network, then it's an amazing situation. Angelica.
Oh, yes, I would like to add what Parker said. He said that the mobile network operators, they have had their financial system before he was born. Many of us, these are legacy systems with 7 billion plus unique users. On top of it, how much billions of dollars in transactions? For them to transition from Web 2 to now Web 3 on Telcoin network, that takes time. And that's why it's very hard to get compliance, trust, and we have compliance, security, everything. So they're trusting us to do this. This is something new and it has to be done correctly. Again, 7 billion unique users. I don't even know hundreds of billions of dollars that are going to move plus. So that's what's very important to remember. And that's why everything has to be correct.
Thanks, Angelica. That's right. Yep. And within each country as well, you've got different layers of compliance and so forth. There's a lot of moving parts. Okay, Derek, how's that? We've got a few coming through on the chat. Any further questions there?
There's another one, probably just for Parker. David's asking about if there's any consideration about the Australian Crypto Convention and New Zealand Crypto Convention, and if Telcoin's going to be there.
I don't know. It's in New Zealand and Australia.
This one's in Australia. There is a New Zealand one as well. And David's very persistent.
I feel like I remember this question.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to that, but Telcoin's pretty big at this point. It's possible we are. I'll check internally.
Okay. All right. Coming towards the end of the meeting, are there any further questions coming through?
There is another question about if mainnet is launching in Q1. Grant, if you want to answer it, you can, but I will speak to just that the roadmap is going to kind of be where you all will follow along for what's happening. We have another update that'll come through here shortly as well. But Grant, I don't know if you want to add anything, but
sure thing. Yeah. So mainnet, I think it's safe to say, will not launch in Q1. That's just a few weeks away. We have again with a roadmap approach instead of specific dates, because they've historically been just difficult to be accurate, and the last thing we want to do is be inaccurate. So I understand that the frustration and the pace may not be ideal for as many as it's the pace may be slow for some, and for the protocol team, it's we're working as fast as we can without sacrificing security. And so ultimately, the roadmap is the best source of information in terms of where we will be and when we will be there. The biggest obstacles, so today we just closed the database PR, which was a very, very heavy lift. With that, we are able to move forward into testnet. Testnet is really important because it gives us a chance to stress test the system and data centers and uncover any other potential issues before launching mainnet, which has real value. So at that time, it's impossible to say exactly how long testnet is, that we will run testnet before mainnet. However, the roadmap shows the milestones on the roadmap that are outstanding. We're launching testnet in these data centers to test real deployments that will be how mainnet will be running. And then we have security assessments because, again, as we've mentioned a few times on this call already, security is paramount. These mobile network operators have a good thing going. The last thing they want to do is jeopardize it because blockchain is cool. So we take that very seriously, and we will continue to communicate progress in these meetings and on the roadmap website. So if you have any questions, I'd be happy to dive deeper into details and specifics, but any technical development and progress can also be followed more closely on GitHub, which may not be everybody's cup of tea, being technical, but yeah, I think I'll stop there. If there's any other questions, we can go into that. But, all right, AJ, I see you have a hand raised. Do you want to jump in?
Go for it.
Yeah, Grant, if since you just came back from the conference and stuff, and probably have talked with numerous, contacts there, obviously there's probably going to be some gaps that they're looking to fill for like developers out there in terms of like being able to tie their apps into the Telcoin network. Could you just give us kind of like maybe for the developers that are out there thinking about developing on the Telcoin network or doing something on the Telcoin network, what would be some areas that you would think that they would want to look at, since this is truly like a greenfield network?
Yes, I think that for developers, one of the best things to kind of shore up that gap will be Solidity development. So Telcoin Network is launching as a EVM layer 1 to begin with, although in the future we could expand into other execution environments. So EVM, right? The really Solidity smart contracts, the things that the mobile network operators are most interested in and is real world payments, processing, supply chain expenses, that sort of convenience of managing their money, and having that be a better user experience. So I'm not quite prepared to give a great answer here and a concise answer, I should say, but yeah, I think for developers looking to build on Telcoin Network, obviously Solidity. If you're looking for a more detailed explanation, I think any sort of on-chain application that might be useful for mobile network operators or simplify the user experience. Mobile money is really big, right? And that's kind of the remittance use case, but really transferring between users. I think that there's still a wide, there's still a lot of room for improvement for any product that I've seen, for just a better user experience when you're managing private keys and interacting with blockchains. So there's also some nuance with Telcoin Network, and specifically with like RPC, transaction mempool gossiping and things like that. But yeah, I just encourage, if there's developers out there that are listening to this and trying to figure that out, I'd be more than happy to carve out some time. Shoot me an email, and you can always email devs@telcoin.org, and we can get that conversation started. I would be very happy to explore and discuss any ideas that you have.
And I would just like to, to dovetail that, like, since you guys are getting ready to release the test net here, right? This would be, in my mind, the ideal time to like jump on that development bandwagon and get rolling with it, wouldn't it be?
Absolutely, and that's kind of twofold. You developers getting on testnet now early, they get to test their product. They kind of get to experience some of the nuance, because even though Telcoin Network is EVM, there is some subtle nuance to it, and a lot of it, in my opinion, is better than other EVM chains. But ultimately, it affects performance of dApps, and there are ways to fine tune your system and really tweak performance. I'm an open book when it comes to that. I would love to see a ton of dApps on Telcoin Network day one. So testnet development will get you in early and get you ahead of the game. It'll also, the second thing it'll do is help us to build a better product by helping us to test and stress and figure out and uncover any potential issues before we launch mainnet. So I strongly encourage it. Appreciate you bringing it up, AJ, because it is now's the time to go.
Okay, there's a lot of questions coming in. So, Ty, why don't you go ahead? And then I've got like 3 more follow-ups from the chat.
Okay, hi guys. Just a quick one for Grant. Will testnet be validated by actual MNOs? And if so, can you say how many?
Yes, testnet will be validated by actual MNOs. And these will be in the data centers that they'll be running mainnet servers next in the rack next door. So part of our agreements and that we've been working on with the MNOs is to really run both nodes to help support the protocol, because testnet is not just before mainnet. It's going to be a parallel chain where we can deploy forks and other upgrades before we do it with the high stakes of real money on mainnet. So really running both of these networks is critical for mainnet's success, not only running a mainnet node, but a testnet node. And as far as how many, we are going to start off with a handful, somewhere about at least 5. And really the goal there in the initial launch, so there's a couple things, not to get too much into the weeds, but the actual Genesis ceremony to coordinate all the validators into starting Genesis is a bit of a headache. And so to take some of that pressure off, you kind of just narrow it down a little bit just to get it off the ground, right? Mainnet is a different animal. Testnet is we can I think we can afford to just have some, it's more about supporting the just getting it off the ground. So testnet is going to be to answer your question, testnet is run by MNOs in the data centers. Sorry, I kind of lost track of my thought there. So
no, great
great.
answer,
Thank you.
Thanks. I know there was some questions sort of raised by the community in terms of onboarding MNOs, and that won't happen until mainnet goes live. And I countered that by saying MNOs are actually getting onboarded when they join the testnet. So it was great to get some validation of that from the horse's mouth, so to speak.
I see.
Thanks, Grant.
Yes, absolutely. You know, and just just because that initial cohort, we will be expanding very soon afterwards. It's just kind of the once Genesis is done, it'll be much easier to onboard additional MNOs and bring them online, sync with the network, and then go from there. And that's a lot of what these network development has been focused on these past few months, is really just how do new nodes join the network and how does it grow? So thanks, Ty. Good question.
Okay, let's see. Sorry, somebody else has something. I'm looking at the other chat. Go ahead if somebody else has something.
Yep, AJ, you got your hand up again?
No, I'm sorry, I didn't put it down.
Okay. I saw Liberty Lad. Got a there any flyers or pitch decks of some kind. I believe that's being worked on in the background there, and that sort of follows on to another question I saw on the chat regarding the website and information for developers.
Yeah.
Was it?
Let's see. So Liberty's was, if I can find it, something to the effect of, is there going to be any sort of one-pagers or decks or anything that the community can use to give to developers that are interested in developing on the network?
Ideally, the website fulfills that function.
Yep, that's the purpose
Yep.
of kind of the unified web presence. We'll be able to. Somebody's interested in building Liberty, and you're talking to them. You'll be able to send them to the website, and it will be very robust with not only the current information out there, but also there'll be a specific. It's called choose your track, essentially, and developer will hit developer, and it'll bring them to a sub website that is built on the landing page that is built specifically for developers. Polygon has this, Avalanche has this, a bunch of others do, and it's geared towards developers. It has all the information there. It'll be really robust and available.
Yep. And love your posts on X there as well, Liberty Lad. It's good work. All right. What else have we got on here for question wise? Yeah, web page that caters to different industries with track companies would be awesome too. So I guess that would go down the routes of what that particular company is looking to do, and as the network builds out, they'll have a pretty good idea on where to go and how to approach it. And I think the association as well will be a lot more organized in that field as it progresses through. Okay, I think if there's nothing else,
one more on here.
More coming.
Yeah, just one more that let's see. Just to clarify, because somebody's asking about why we've already explained the dates thing. So that's on there, and just to be 100% clear, there's conflating using a roadmap based update system versus hard dates, and that being like things being delayed, quote unquote. I think that's a kind of a little bit of a short-sighted way to look at it. This is not something that you can target dates easily with, especially when you're dealing with different MNOs that, as Grant has shared, that all have different requirements, that all have different onboarding, that all have different competencies when it comes to blockchain. So it's really based on their speed. There was another question about if MNOs will be announced. As we had said before, the MNOs that are actually the names of said MNOs they're going to announce on their own time. That's not something the association would be doing. Obviously, once that comes public knowledge, we would support that and then update accordingly. But that we're again being good stewards of the network and onboarding process. And then there was one more of, maybe Grant can answer this. How long approximately would the testnet period be?
Yes, the testnet period is going to be forever. A testnet is going to run in parallel with mainnet, and the reason that it's so important to have a testnet in parallel with mainnet is that as the network grows and advances, and we improve the network and add new features, we need a real environment that can simulate mainnet as identically as possible, so that it's as realistic simulation as we can get. The goal is to be basically mainnet just without the value, and so that's why testnet will be running for as long as mainnet is running, which would be forever. So the goal of testnet is just keep it running, and so that we can continue to as well as make funds more accessible to dApp developers, because again, with the EVM, we have the ability to launch existing protocols on chain as easily as possible. So Aave, Uniswap, Gnosis Safe, all these other EVM projects that are running on Polygon and Ethereum and Base, it's plug and play for Telcoin network. And so on testnet, you can make funds available. You can make gas fees generally essentially free by just sponsoring gas and having faucets. So developers aren't blocked by actual value. They can just focus on building on testnet. And then from a protocol project perspective, it lets the core protocol team deploy new features that simulate in the environment that mainnet is running in, so that we can be 100% confident, as close to 100% confident as humanly possible before releasing it on mainnet. So testnet is going to be our first launch here. I expect that we'll have a few, we'll uncover some things that need to be improved. Hopefully not too much. And then, yeah, we'll go forward with mainnet while keeping testnet running.
Thank you, Grant. That's really good. And yeah, as you can see, it's moving towards the real end of town and the business side right now. So onwards and upwards, and progress keeps going, and it won't stop. Slow and steady as the internet of money is built.
One other one, just to clarify, and I can answer this, GMM. He said, so testnet and production have to be kind of a like for like. Yes and no. Think of it like it's a mirrored production copy of the mainnet that can be used for testing environment, right? If you want to test something new without breaking the network, because we have live transactions going on, this is a mirrored platform to do so, where we can tell in that environment for people to use and test, so on and so forth. So hopefully that answered it. Grant, if I butcher that, please correct me.
It's good to me. I agree.
Okay, guys. Well, coming up to the hour, a little bit short of the hour. That's fine. If there, just wait a few more seconds for if there's any other further questions, or has anyone else got anything they'd like to bring up?
No, just a reminder that after this, give us about 5-10 minutes while we reset the stream and stuff. But we do have the TAN Council will be meeting and just talking through a few things there.
Okay, guys, and yep, you're welcome to jump on that as needed as well, everyone. So our next meetings, we've got March 26th, April 9th, and April 23rd. So we're back to our 2-weekly schedule there. And that sort of wraps us up in 2026, year of Telcoin, Internet of Money. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day. Have a good couple of weeks. Until next time.